winning is crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.
The main purpose of these events is just to share a lot of value with the audience and get them to take something away. If I dive into any numbers, just in the last, let's say, 7 to 8 months, these events have helped us generate over almost $50,000 in monthly revenue. Don't just start with an event. You do an event and you just don't do another one for, let's say, 6 months. When you start, your plan should be made in a way that you know that these can be done on a recurring basis. You will need everybody to work together to make an event live, because there's like a lot of technical details also that go into this. So you will need your entire team. If there's a company out there that's looking into getting started with events, it's definitely a yes. You should definitely go for it.
Hello and welcome to The Marketers Podcast. I'm Andrew, and on today's episode, I'm excited to have Chhavi Chugh, a content manager at Recruit CRM. With a strong background in content marketing, social media, and event strategy, Chhavi has helped scale SaaS brands through impactful engagement and online events. Our today's conversation is all about effective online events that help attract clients. Chhavi, happy that you joined me today.
Yeah, Andrew, thank you so much for having me. It's nice to be here today.
Let's jump straight into online events. So, when we spoke earlier, you mentioned that they've been highly effective for Recruit CRM. Can you tell me more about that? And also, to give our listeners a bit of context, could you share a bit about the company and your role there?
Yes, so I would like to start with a bit about the company and the role. Recruit CRM is a software company. We have a recruitment software, which is basically an ATS plus CRM for recruiters and recruitment agencies all over the world. And we've been around since 2017. And we're currently the highest rated recruitment software across the globe, across all major review boards. And when it comes to my role in the company, I've been with the company for 3 years now, almost 3 years now. I am a content manager at Recruit CRM, and I'm currently leading social media marketing, events, webinar marketing, and influencer marketing, along with long form gated content like ebooks and like Recruit CRM exclusive content. Now, like you mentioned, Andrew, that when we spoke earlier, we talked about how events have been super, super effective for Recruit CRM. So I'll dive into when we started events. We got started with events in late 2023, which was basically the last month of the year. Our very first event was in December, and that was a big deal for us. It was the very first webinar, and we realized how much time and effort actually goes into setting up an event. And it took us almost 2 months to set that up. And since then, since early 2024, we set up a process for doing webinars consistently every month. So we do one event every single month, and we do a lot of huge promotions for that. And when I say that they've been very effective for Recruit CRM, is they've not only been a huge brand building system for our company, they've helped us build a huge brand, but at the same time, they've gotten us a lot of new customers and revenue. So if I dive into any numbers, just in the last, let's say, 7 to 8 months, these events have helped us generate over almost $50,000 in monthly revenue. So you can just multiply that by going to give
Mhm.
you annual revenue. So they've helped us generate this amount of monthly revenue just through these events. They've helped us reach new audiences, new customers, recruiters from all over the world, and we've gotten more customers because of these events. So they've not only been like a revenue generating system for us, but also they've also helped us build our brand stronger, because we're now very popular for our events. We have a lot of customers and potential customers and even recruitment influencers who know about Recruit CRM through our webinars. So that's another thing to be happy about here. And yeah, definitely exactly what I mean when I say that they've been super effective for Recruit CRM. So if there's a company out there that's looking into getting started with events, it's definitely a yes. You should definitely go for it.
I can fully relate because in our company Matcher, we also run online events. We calculated the ROI of different marketing channels. And what is interesting that webinars is the most effective channel for us. Despite the fact that we are not SaaS business, we are a consulting business. People who signed up for our webinars, they just reached out to us saying, hey, we saw your webinar. The next question, when we are talking about online events on your site, are we talking only about webinars or do you have any other types?
When we talk about online events at my company, basically we've done a couple of different types of online events. So one is webinars, and as you probably already know, webinar is supposed to be educational. It's supposed to share some sort of value and information with the audience and help them take something away from it. And we do different types of webinars as well. So we have these expert webinars where we call in recruitment leaders who have expertise in different types of areas. So there are people who have a background in AI and technology. There are people who have a background in cold calling for recruitment. We actually even had a guest with a background in recruitment marketing. So these different types of speakers that we call, these we basically refer to them as expert webinars. And that's one type of webinar where they just come. The main purpose of these events is just to share a lot of value with the audience and get them to take something away. And another type of event that we do is they're more product related. So they're basically a mix of panel discussions and webinars where we basically share information about how to recruit CRM and how the product can help you take things on a different level. We talk about some features. We call in some customers for like some live testimonials. So that's another kind of event that we do. So these are both webinars because there's a slide deck that is involved. There's something on the screen that's being shared, and we have a founder on these events as well. So we do share a lot of information with the audience. There's tips and tricks also being shared in these product related webinars as well, because we have lots of agency owners and customers who work with us who come and share tips from their own experiences as well. Both of these kind of events are very helpful for the audience, and they definitely take something away from these type of events. Another type of event that we focus on is panel discussions. And a panel discussion, how we mainly differentiate a panel discussion with a webinar is a webinar is more educational. You have like a slide deck with a lot of content ready. You're sharing your screen, you're giving your audience some perspective, you're sharing pointers. How we differentiate it from panel discussions is a panel discussion has a bigger panel of speakers instead of just like one or two speakers who are sharing their thoughts on something. We have, let's say, a panel of 3 to 4 people. It can even go up to 5 or 6 people if that's like if you have a longer event. But you have a panel of about 4 to 5 speakers, and you choose a topic that they want to talk about. There's no slide decks involved in this. It's just a candid and interesting debate where these experts in the field they share their thoughts on a particular topic, and it just becomes very candid and authentic for the audience members sitting and listening in. So we did one of these back in last year, and we're planning on doing more. Yeah, and the moderator plays a very crucial role in these kind of events. So usually in like a webinar, moderator or a host can is probably not going to be speaking too much. They're just mainly facilitating the discussion. But in a panel discussion, their role becomes a lot more important because they're facilitating the entire discussion, throwing questions at the speakers and driving the entire conversation, making sure one speaker doesn't speak over another one or speaks in too much. That's the role of the moderator. It becomes very important in these events. And these events hold their own kind of place in event marketing and online events. They're also very interesting and engaging, and they can drive in like an even bigger audience. For one of our panel discussions, we had over 160 people watching. So yeah, definitely it can definitely attract a huge audience. And since you have multiple speakers, you can even get all these speakers to promote the event. That leads to like even their networks joining in, and your promotions are even bigger. And another type of event that we do is LinkedIn Live events. Now these are more straightforward, and how we try to differentiate these events with our webinars is we try to make them shorter. So these are 20-minute long events with like some experts who come in, they share their experience on some topics, and these can definitely take your LinkedIn presence to a different level as well, because LinkedIn values events and live sessions online there as well. And yeah, these are different from webinars. They're much shorter, but they're also quite engaging, and they get like lots of experts to come in and share their thoughts. We also stream our webinars on LinkedIn, so that's even better to reach more people. So these are the main different kinds of events we that we focus on. And all of these are working well for us in their own ways. So every event holds like their own objective, and that we're trying to fulfill with it.
You mentioned that it took a couple of months to figure out all these things when you launched the webinars, and now you have a clear process that you follow. Could you share the main things you do to run webinars? Our listeners who didn't do this previously, so they can maybe steal your practice.
Yes, absolutely. Initially, when we started with webinars, one thing we knew was this is going to be a very time consuming process, because we knew how much it goes into setting up just a single event. There was just way too much. So we took our time with the first one. We were figuring out stuff. We started with getting a speaker on board. That was the very first thing we did. And we got a speaker on board. We finalized a topic with them. We finalized on the platform and all of those basic details that you need to finalize before you start something fresh. It also starts with a lot of research. If you've not done webinar marketing or you've not set up a live event before, you definitely need to do your own studying, your own research to know exactly what all you will need before you set something like this up. And for another thing that we started out with was creating a very solid promotion plan. And
Mhm.
that is a promotional playbook that we still live by. It was a detailed document that consisted of all the platforms we will have to promote this on, all the next steps we'll have to take, promotions before the event, promotions after the event. So you do a lot of research and you make this playbook for yourself. So you know exactly when you're setting up an event, number one, what all you will need and where all you can promote the events. It's definitely important to start with research and understanding why you're doing this and how you want to set up these events. You figure out the platform that you want to run this on. So what worked out for us,
Mhm.
what works the best for us is Zoom. So Zoom offers a webinars option. So if you have a current Zoom account, you can just upgrade it and buy a webinars plan. And that's what we've been using. It honestly has everything you need. We've never really had the need to even consider switching to a different platform. Zoom offers a Q&A option. It has options for polls to engage the audience, and you can record it, you can live stream it to different platforms. So it basically has everything you would possibly need for your webinars. But there are many tools out there so people can explore their own options. But Zoom has worked out pretty well for us. And so that's definitely an important step to figure out the tool that you would need to stream this, go live with this. And you have your promotional playbook, you have your tool sitting with you, and the next thing you need is a checklist of your team's task, because when you create an event, it's not just going to be a two people job, it's not going to be a three people job. It's probably going to require your entire marketing team to come together. And that's definitely one thing that we went through. And it's super important and brings the whole team together. You will need the email marketing team or the paid ads team or the video team, the graphics team, the engineers in your team. You will need everybody to work together to make an event live, because there's like a lot of technical details also that go into this. So you will need your entire team. So you will need to have a list of tasks that your entire team will have to take care of to make this a success. So you will need a checklist of the task with clear timelines and deadlines and roles clearly defined within your team, so everybody knows what they're supposed to do to make this event a success. So that's another thing we do. We have an event task management sheet, basically where we have all the roles clearly listed out in different segments. So we first have task set number one, where we have all the tasks listed out, the very first few tasks that everybody's supposed to do. Then we have a set number two, which can only be done when the set number one is complete, and so on. So we have these sequences of tasks with owners defined,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
also a task management tool called ClickUp that we use to make sure that everybody's on track with their tasks. So we use ClickUp as well. It's super handy. And yeah, that's one of the most important things we do. We've had a fixed list of tasks that we use for every event. So if there are any tweaks to be made depending on a specific type of event, we do that. But mostly that task checklist remains the same throughout all events. And it's really helpful because it's become like a template for you. You don't need to sit and create a fresh list of tasks for every event. It saves your own time, and it's just super handy. So you have that checklist, you have a promotions playbook, you have your tool sorted out for you, and that's something that you start with. And another thing is that definitely if somebody's trying out like starting events for the very first time in their company, is to keep it simple and be consistent with it. So don't just start with an event. You do an event and you just don't do another one for, let's say, 6 months. When you start, your plan should be made in a way that you know that these can be done on a recurring basis. And you set up a process for this, that we're going to take 2 weeks to prepare content and graphics. We'll take another week to set everything up. And then we'll have 3 weeks of promotions for this particular event. And then we'll make the event go live. So if you have a process like this set up in place, that's really going to help you be consistent with doing events and make sure that you never miss out.
It sounds so granular that you have all these playbooks, all these checklists. This is really great. And you have the whole playbook related to promotion. From your experience, what channels are the most effective for you?
The most effective channels are your
Mm,
existing channels. So basically, whatever you have at your disposal, you should tap into every possible channel that
mhm,
you have, because you never know, you might find relevant audiences on what platform.
mm,
So the most effective platform for us has been our website. Now, I'll come to the other platforms in a bit as well. If your company has a website and you have probably a lot of traffic coming into that website every single week, every single month, and so do we. So we have a lot of traffic coming in every week. And if we don't tap into this traffic to drive
Mm.
registration, it's a huge mistake. So one thing that we do for promotions is every month when we have a new webinar, we set up a strip banner on the website, which is basically a thin banner at the top of the website that's not really restricting the view of anything else. It's just there and it catches attention. It's there on every single page. It's present globally throughout the website. And anybody who lands on your website, no matter what page they're on, they will see that strip banner. There's going to be some information about you have a webinar coming up. We also have like a timer, like a live timer in the strip banner itself. So people know how many days there are for this event to go live and it grabs attention. So you have that strip banner with a CTA, which is a call to action button there that says learn more or save my seat. And people click on it and they will be taken to a registration page, which is also sitting on our website. And then they can just fill out a form and they can get emails and notifications for when the event is coming closer and going live. So we get actually majority of our registrations from the website, and this is the strip banner is super useful in that.
Mm.
And another thing we host on the website is a pop-up. Now there are two types of pop-ups that people can use. There's entry pop-up or an exit pop-up or exit intent pop-up, and an entry pop-up has worked out the best for us in terms of these two pop-ups, so we go for that right now. But you can utilize both of these pop-ups if you would like to. And the entry pop-up is just a small pop-up. It's sitting in the bottom left corner of the page. It shows up after somebody's been on a particular page for, let's say, more than 15 seconds, and it shows up there. And it's in the corner. It's not really restricting the person from scrolling through whatever page they landed on. It's not really blocking their view in any way, and it's less distracting since it's in a corner. So people don't usually cross it off very instantly, and they get curious because of the pop-up being in the corner. They probably read the information on it, and there's a button on it, so they can just be taken to the registration page and they can sign up for the event. And in these pop-ups, we also put in like the speaker's picture, because that's definitely, if somebody doesn't feel like reading what's on the pop-up, but they see the picture of an expert that they might recognize, they might just click on it and register. That's again another thing that helps you drive registrations. So the website has been definitely a huge help in promotions. Another thing that works out for us is social media and email marketing. So I'll come to email marketing. Social media, we have four platforms that we mainly have, but there's LinkedIn, there's Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And we've also recently expanded to like lots of different platforms like TikTok. And we also
Mhm,
have
mhm.
Blue Sky recently that we expanded to, and Pinterest and different other platforms. Plus, we have Reddit and Quora as well, where we syndicate our content there as well. So you're supposed to, what we do is we utilize all of these platforms for promotions.
Mhm.
We create authentic content and we make sure that we push out as much as possible to basically put the event in front of people as much as we can. So there's different types of formats that we use. There's video content, there's carousel posts, there's single images, there's polls that we use for promotions as well. And also stories on Instagram. So as much as you can, we leverage these social media platforms for promotions, and they definitely help. Plus, we have a LinkedIn newsletter that has about 30,000 subscribers there. So even that has been super effective. So we promote events in these newsletters every other week as well. So they do bring us registrations from there as well.
Considering that your B2B platform, channels like TikTok, Instagram, are they effective from your experience?
Primarily Instagram, it is definitely effective. And whether you're B2B or B2C, I think you should definitely tap into every platform that you possibly
Mhm,
can, because honestly, you
mhm,
never
mhm,
know where you might find some qualified or, like, for example, we recently tried out Discord and we never thought we would find
mm,
any relevant audience on Discord, but we actually ended up getting a customer from there.
mm,
So it's always good to try out all platforms, but your approach for the platforms will be very different. So what we do on LinkedIn versus what we do on Instagram is quite different. While some post and some type of content is similar across all these platforms, but our approach on Instagram, if you check out our Instagram
mm.
page, you'll see
Yeah.
that we post a lot of fun content, fun, engaging content to basically entertain recruiters and keep them engaged. And in the middle of all of this, there's also subtle promotions happening for like some events that we have, something new that we've launched about a product as well. But Instagram as a platform is more lighthearted compared to platforms like LinkedIn. So your approach here would be different, but definitely they are effective. Maybe they might not be
Mhm,
the strongest lead gen platform for you,
mhm,
or they might not get you direct customers every month, but they will definitely help build your brand stronger. And slowly and steadily, if you're very consistent on these platforms, you will develop a good following here as well. And if you're able to tap into all of these trends really well, you will develop a good audience here. So I would say definitely they're effective. And no matter whether you're B2B, B2C, doesn't matter. You should definitely expand to as many platforms as you can and study these platforms, figure out what kind of approach works there and what works for you. And yeah, definitely, these are effective. In terms of TikTok, we are still pretty new there. And again, what we're currently using it for is just fun, quirky, interesting content, just to build like an audience of recruiters there as well. And we have built like a small audience there as well. We're quite new there. But again, it's also similar to Instagram. And the purpose of TikTok is not get customers very instantly, even though we did get a couple of signups from there as well for our free trial. But yeah, still, any platform can work for you. So you never know.
And how big is the team that is working on all this content?
We have about 6 to 7 people who work on all different types of things. There's so much that goes on in content itself. But in terms of planning the entire webinar, we have pretty much the entire marketing team, all sub functions within the team working on this. We have the email marketing team setting up email campaigns for promotions. We have a social media team that is setting up creating promotional content for social media and scheduling it for publication. And then we have the design team, the graphics team, which helps us design all of these posts and all the different types of banners that we put up on social media, again, promoting the webinar. So we update the banners on these platforms to promote the webinar. So if you probably go to our LinkedIn right now, you'll see that we have like a webinar banner put up there as well, and also on YouTube. The graphics team helps us design all of these banners. Then we also have like a lot of video content that we publish to promote these webinars. So we have a video team involved in this as well. They help us edit videos and like of course make them more attractive and publish them throughout our platforms. We also have the engineering team here because the engineering team helps us, that's a part of our team as well. They help us handle the entire website. And if we have to publish a registration page for the webinar or make any strip banners or pop-ups live, so the engineering team is who help us with this. So yeah, we basically have every single team on the team helping with making this event a success.
How do you handle registrations for the webinars? For example, in our case, it's trade-off between leads on one side and broad audience on the other side. So what we do, we register people for the webinar, but then we stream openly to YouTube and LinkedIn. What is your experience with this?
We definitely have a registration page on the website. So we also have a webinar repository on the website where basically all of our old webinars and upcoming webinars sit, so people can access these events from there as well, and they can access the latest registration page there. So we have these registration pages where people fill out their information and we collect all of this data, and
Mhm,
we keep getting
mhm,
notified when we have a new registrant coming in for an event. And we
mhm,
also stream these events on LinkedIn and YouTube. Now, for LinkedIn, what we do is the first thing you're supposed to do is you're supposed to create a LinkedIn event. And the tool that we use for just like throwing this out there, the tool that we use for streaming the Zoom events on LinkedIn and YouTube is Restream. And Restream is quite straightforward. It's super easy to use. You don't even need to be tech savvy to use that. And on LinkedIn, what we do is there's an option when you create a LinkedIn event to enable a registration form that helps you collect data of people who are
mhm,
attending the event on LinkedIn as well. And there's a disclaimer mentioned in that form itself that if you fill out this form and you share this information, the company can use this maybe to contact you
mhm,
or for, let's say, for the newsletter or whatever. There's an option, there's a disclaimer mentioned there. So anybody who's filling out the form, they know that they're sharing their registration information with the company, and we can utilize that
mhm,
information to
mhm,
contact
mhm,
them, probably turn them into leads, warm them up in some way. So we get a lot of people registering
mhm.
there, and then we get a fresh set of people registering on the registration page on the website. And so yeah, we have this data, and these are the people who end up watching on both of these platforms, so mainly on LinkedIn and Zoom. And we also, after an event is over, we bifurcate the registration data that we have into like multiple buckets. So we sometimes have current customers watching it, so we know that out of, let's say, 80 people watching, 20 were customers or 10 were customers. And then we divide it based on how many people are completely fresh attendees, like people who never registered before, never watched an event before. compared to people who have actually repeat registrations, people who've watched our events before as well and they've come back again. So we bifurcate this data accordingly, and we have the email marketing team and the in our marketing team that helps us do this.
How you approach, for example, people who watched your webinar for the first time, or people who are your ambassadors and constantly watching your webinars?
People are free to register again for a future event, or if there's somebody who's just stumbled upon our website and our webinars, they can register for a new one. So we don't have a different way of treating or handling this data, but we do have clear bifurcation of the registration data for each event, and we nurture this data, and we also track how much of this data is getting converted into customers and deals and what they're doing next. And a lot of this data gets added into our subscriber base. So we have an email newsletter with over 20,000 subscribers there. And this is again a disclaimer mentioned at the bottom of the form on the registration page on the website as well, that if you're filling out this form, you're getting added to our email newsletter. So you will basically get news and updates from Recruit CRM in your inbox. So people are aware of this. So basically, these events and this registration data is helping us build our subscriber base as well.
Do you
Upfront with them.
publish your video content or the recordings of the webinars on your website? Are they public, or people still need to register to get access? Do you have any tips to utilize this content on your website?
We do put up the webinars for public view on the website. And now that we've started live streaming the events across YouTube and LinkedIn, so our webinar recordings sit there as well. And we basically host the YouTube stream that is sitting on YouTube on the website directly. People can just watch it there. And initially, earlier, we used to have a form for people to fill out and watch the recordings on demand. But we removed that form to make it more easily accessible to people. They just have to play the recording and they can just watch it. For the main webinar repository, when we created the repository, definitely we kept in mind a lot of keyword research to set up the page in terms of the meta description, the words on the particular page, the URL slug of the repository page, the main title, and all of that. We kept in mind that we did our keyword research. We had a list of two to three focus keywords that we wanted to target for these pages. And we set up the webinar page focused around these particular keywords that we were targeting. And if somebody looks up for recruitment webinars, that's probably what they're probably going to find Recruit CRM's webinars right there. So that's the first thing. And we're also doing link building, which is off page SEO. So we're also doing link building for recruitment webinars repository. So we have certain keywords that we're building these links for. And that definitely helps in helping the page rank for certain keywords and improve the page's position as well. For individual pages, we just make sure that we're covering the important topics within it, like depending on what, like the individual registration pages that are within the repository, they all have their unique topics and themes. So we just cover the topics there. And in terms of, like, you asked me another question about how we repurpose or how we utilize the recording after, how we utilize this video content after it's sitting with us. So I think repurposing and utilizing this video content is a huge important part that people should not overlook, because after you've been doing webinars and live events for a while, you will have a huge repository of video content that can be used in so many different types of promotions and platforms. You can take out snippets from this event. That's exactly what we do. We take out snippets from the event, we turn them into small social media posts and shorts for YouTube and reels for Instagram. So we publish these across all of our social platforms. You can also turn these into ads for getting people back to the original recording on the website so people can watch it, and you can just get some more traffic to your webinar pages. You can also turn these recordings into blogs, and there are lots of video blogs also that you can create. So you basically summarize what was covered in the webinar and turn it into a blog, and you can link the actual full recording within the blog itself. So you can do multiple different things to repurpose this recording. And let's say you've done multiple webinars already, you can actually at the end of it club different parts of the webinar, make it like a huge video for your YouTube. So I think these webinar recordings are also going to help you build your YouTube platform a lot. So if you have a YouTube channel for your company, definitely you can post a lot of this video content there. It can help you YouTube presence there as well. So yeah, in terms of repurposing, you should not let the video content just sit on your website. You should promote it again and again, repurpose it into snippets and bits and pieces here and there.
I suggest to have a little bit rest. What excites you about running online events and what brings you joy?
One thing that definitely brings me joy about running online events, especially in the company that I'm currently at, is how we've seen events completely change the face of marketing for us, how we've seen events grow in the past 1 year. We started
Mm-hmm.
from just one event in a quarter to doing
Mm-hmm.
three in a quarter, and how we've scaled them, how we see people appreciating the events, and just seeing the growth of events and event marketing within the company, within the team, has been something that really excites me and brings me a lot of joy. And another thing is that it brings the entire team together. So everybody works on it, everybody has a role to play in it. So again, it's a good thing that bonds the team together as well. Everybody in the team is excited when a new webinar is coming up. And what excites me about doing virtual events is definitely for especially for expert webinars where we call in recruitment leaders from like all over the world. It's really interesting to bring so many different perspectives on live video for so many people to see, and it gives them a platform as well to reach more people, and plus it helps us engage our audience with their insights. I think it's definitely interesting having these conversations with these experts, getting them on board, coordinating with them for these events, and then doing all of this, and then finally seeing the events actually come to life at the end of it, like putting all of this effort for 1.5 2 months, and then once you eventually see the events go live, and there are so many people coming in and watching, and everything that you created has finally paid off. You see all of that happening, you see it bringing in the results that you were expecting. It's definitely a very rewarding feeling. So I would say that definitely excites me. And yeah, growing this and setting it up in a startup company, like a growing startup like Recruit CRM, has definitely been very
Yeah,
rewarding
yeah,
and
can imagine, can
truly
imagine.
exciting. Yeah.
And in terms of challenges that you face along the way, what problems do you see in running webinars and how do you handle them?
One challenge that we initially faced was doing these consistently. So like I had mentioned earlier, setting up a clear process for yourself, having a checklist that you can just use on a recurring basis, making webinars a consistent and recurring process really helped us. And everything that I mentioned earlier basically applies here as well. That's what really helped us. So doing it consistently, once you set up a process and you start following it, it just all falls into place, and you're just able to let the webinars keep rolling, and you set up a process for yourself and for your entire team. Another challenge that we faced was with retaining the audience till the very end. That's something that we faced initially, and then we quickly overcame it. And now, what I mean by retaining the audience till the very end is that when the webinar starts, you get like 30, 40, 50 people, 60 people joining in, and you don't want people to keep dropping off. You want at least 80% or 90% of the audience to stay till the very end, because you want your webinar to be that engaging and interesting. Sometimes people drop off for many different reasons. It might not have anything to do with how engaging your event is, but still, you would want as much of that live audience to be retained. So, one thing that we did to overcome that challenge was the quality of your slide deck is very important. The kind of content that you're covering on the deck, what all topics you're covering, themes you're covering, is very important. So you need to make sure that your slide deck, whatever you're covering there, is very well thought through. You've done your research and on how to create engaging slide decks for webinars, and the topic you've covered all the important points, and you can also leave a very interesting theme to be covered towards the end of the webinar, towards the end of the slide deck. Other elements to keep the audience engaged are polls. So we do at least 2 to 3 polls in every webinar. It definitely makes the audience do something. It keeps them active, keeps them engaged. You can also incorporate open-ended questions. They're similar to polls, but instead of giving people options, you are giving them a chance to just type out their answer in the chat or in the comments. So it's also again very interesting. It keeps people hooked. It keeps people awake and active throughout the sessions. People usually are encouraged to write in their answers. That's another thing you we do. And another thing we do is a Q&A session. So we usually leave the Q&A session, of course, like as it should be, towards the very end of the webinar. And that sort of encourages people again to stick till the end so they can get their personal questions answered. And the main speaker and our founder is sitting there. He answers these questions, and the speakers do that as well. So leaving the Q&A for the very end, and just informing people in advance, like at the very beginning of the event, we let people know that we have a Q&A towards the end. So stick till the very end to get your questions answered. And throughout the event, if they have any questions, they can drop in the questions using the Q&A options that Zoom provides already. So we do that already at the beginning of the events itself. And another thing we do is we do giveaways in webinars. So now the giveaways are usually done by recruitment leaders. We have a lot of recruitment influencers who we've onboarded for different types of collaborations. And we reach out to a couple of them and see if they would be interested in offering anything as a giveaway for, let's say, one lucky winner. We have some influencers who've given away one of their courses for free to one lucky winner, or they've given away like consultation sessions for one lucky winner. So we do arrange these and put them at the very end of the webinar. So we let people know that if you stick around till the very end, you will be eligible to win this giveaway. And we usually choose the winners from the attendees who've stuck around till the very end. And Zoom lets you see that. Zoom lets you see who stuck around till the very end. So I think that's very important. It has helped us retain a lot of audience members. And yeah, people enjoy the giveaways as well.
For example, we have 1,000 people registered for the webinar, but only 20% of them show up during the session. Do you have the same? Is it something that common or it's
No, it's definitely very common. You get a lot of registrations, you get 300, 400 registrations, but only, let's say, 60, 70 people might end up joining. And that happens to increase the attendee rate, like registrations to attendance rate. What we do is we make sure we keep pushing the promotions and reminders till the very end. Of course, without being super pushy and without being very overwhelming. So we have a sequence of emailers ready that anybody who's registered on the website through the registration form, they get a sequence of emailers reminding them that the event is going live in 1 hour, the event is going live in 4 hours. So we send them at least 2 to 3 emailers pretty close to the webinar to remind them that the event is coming. And for people on the LinkedIn event, what we do is we have a template, we have a message created to send to everybody who's signed up to attend the event on the LinkedIn Live events. You can click on attend, right? So we get all of these registrants there, and we basically DM them. We let them know that the event is starting soon. We would love to see you there. Here's the Zoom link for you to directly join. So we again nudge them a little towards the end. We remind them that this is happening. And again, the promotions for reminders happen across all of our platforms. They happen on social media. We put up some stories on Instagram, some last minute posts that we're going live in a couple of hours. So we do all of this to make sure that we can maximize the number of registrants attending the event actually. But even if we don't get like too many of the registrants, let's say, attending the event, we know that they're definitely getting out to our subscriber base. We will nurture them. We will give them more valuable information later on. There's always a bright side to getting a lot of registrations. And we also let people know that if they register, we will send them a recording of the session immediately after it ends. Plus, we will share the slide deck with them as well so they can refer to all of that.
What will
Yeah.
be your 3 pieces of advice to a person who is just starting webinars for their B2B company?
My very first advice would be to
Mm-hmm.
start
Mm-hmm.
simple and stay consistent. Don't overcomplicate your first events and make sure that you have the objective of your event very clear to you. Why you want to set up these events, why do you want to do webinars? Why do you want to do online events? It should be clear to you what the goal of these events is. Is it brand building? Is it reaching more people? Is it lead generation? So if you have your objectives clear, you will be able to set up events accordingly. And again, don't overcomplicate them, especially your first events. Just follow the process, follow the steps, have like a checklist ready for you, and make sure you document everything. It's really going to help you follow the same process on a repeated basis for your future events. My second advice would be make the most of your existing channels. So, whatever platforms you have available to you, whether it's email, whether it's social media, if you have paid ads, you can leverage those as well. Your website. So, make the most of your existing channels to get the word out. You should definitely make the most of these platforms wherever you can. And you can understand more about these just like a little bit of Google research, and you can figure out what platforms work the best, and you can try out as well and figure out what works for you. My third advice would be, once, like we talked about repurposing content, once you've gotten your webinar recording with you, don't let it just sit on your website. Don't let it just sit on your social media platforms. Repurpose that content. Make some use of it. It's even after the event is over, the recording is super valuable. It can be a lead gen magnet for you, especially if it's a product related webinar, and it can help you get more followers on social media. It can attract more people to your website. There's just a lot you can do with your recording. Like I mentioned earlier, repurpose it into blog posts, social media clips, mention it in email follow-ups, and to keep the engagement high long, after the event has ended. So definitely repurpose your content. That's my third piece of advice. And just to add a fourth little advice there as well, make sure you have quality technology. You should definitely invest in a tool like maybe Zoom webinars, or if you feel like using something else, definitely invest in a good quality tool for these events. And if you feel like you, as somebody from your team, whoever is moderating these events or whoever is the main speaker, would need better technology like a
Mhm.
microphone or like a green screen or like a ring light for these events, definitely worth investing in these technology pieces. It makes your events higher quality and it makes them definitely perform better.
Chhavi, thanks a lot for joining me today. What is the best way for our listeners to connect with you?
The best way to connect with me would be through my LinkedIn. Yeah, you can just DM me anytime. I also have a personal Gmail ID. It's chavichugh911@gmail.com. So you can email me as well.
Thanks for sharing your experience today. Have a great evening and bye bye.
Thank you so much, Andrew. It was so lovely being here. And yeah, I'll see you later. Bye
Wait.
bye.
Winning is crazy. Your opportunity. Your opportunity. Your opportunity. Your opportunity.